What's going on, guys? This is Restless Corpse from VirtualBromance. This is day 39 of 365 games, and day 39 I'm playing Resident Evil Revelations on the Xbox 360. I didn't put out a video yesterday. I had some pretty crazy internet problems that I was on the phone with tech support for a pretty long time about. But in any case, like I said, I'm probably going to take a break here and there. I'm going to be doing this for 365 days, so sometimes, going to have a little bit too much to do in the old real world. In any case, my relationship with Resident Evil games lately is kind of love and hate. Just like most of you, I love the earlier Resident Evil games, and I swear by them. They're amazing, even with the stupid tank controls. They just have like that real nostalgic feel. My problem with Resident Evil games these days is that I want to shoot zombies, and I know there are like 100 zombie games out there now, but Resident Evil used to be like the fucking zombie game, and I guess as great as Resident Evil 4 was, and I'm never gonna ever say anything bad about Resident Evil 4. But that I think that, in my opinion, that was kind of the start of the decline. Don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 4 is a great game. It's one of the best, if not the best, Resident Evil game. It had a great, they started this whole over-the-shoulder, faster-paced combat, and it was great. And I've been saying forever that I want a game like that. With zombies. And if you look at Resident Evil 6, Leon's campaign, the first two chapters were pretty good. I mean, it was this style, but fighting zombies, and I thought that was great. But it didn't last very long, and the rest of the game just kind of got to me. I wasn't a big fan of 6. I know Providence, and I finished it. And then Providence and I started playing, and we never finished it together. I don't know if he's finished it. But I did end up selling the game just because it's not a good game. And, if you don't agree with me, we can have a little debate about it. That's fine, but I'm not a big fan of 6. I wasn't really a big fan of 5 either. 5 just didn't feel like a Resident Evil game to me. At least, it was kind of the same as 4, but at least in 4, there was tension, and it was, dark and moody and atmospheric, which is why it was so good. And Resident Evil 5 it seemed like most of the game took place during the day, and it was, I don't know, I wasn't a big fan. But Resident Evil Revelations, when I played the demo, when the demo first came out, I kind of was like, because those weird things that shamble at you, and I don't know. They kind of seem like zombies, like these things right here. They kind of seem like zombies. They just don't. They don't do it for me. But after actually playing the game is actually pretty good. I like the scanning thing. And it, with that was a complete accidental grenade throw there. The scanning thing and the rest of the game, it does feel like a Resident Evil game to me, which is cool. And I hear that, I know that this isn't the first version of the game. I don't remember if it was on DS or 3DS or whatever. I never played it then. But I always heard such good things about it, so I wanted to check it out in this incarnation. And I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. But just Resident Evil in general, it's one of those games that I've always talked about needs a serious reboot. Especially after they killed Wesker. I mean, come on, Wesker was one of the coolest bad guys in a game ever. He was in one of our top 5s on VirtualBromance Live. And if we forget about Resident Evil 5, every game he's been in is awesome. I don't like what they did with him in Resident Evil 5. They made him like this giant, like, superhuman enemy, and it didn't feel like I was fighting Wesker. Yeah, but I think a reboot would be great, even if I wouldn't have Wesker, because it would be a reboot, so it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to have the same characters. I guess maybe reboots do that sometimes, but I seriously think that the series needs to get, because it's gotten so convoluted and weird now, that I want it to just go back and start over and maybe try and not contradict itself so much, I guess. But back to Resident Evil Revelations, maybe on chapter 4 or so now, and I am having fun with it. I enjoy the game. The one boss that I fought was actually kind of tough and exciting, I guess I could say. There was a lot of tension to it. I ended up running out of ammo and had to scrounge, and I used a lot of health potion, or like the health herbs. So it's a good game. I wish that if they're not going to reboot the game, or the series, then maybe they should just make more games like this. Because those weird looking things are the closest to zombies I've seen in a Resident Evil since, Code Veronica, I guess. And I guess the early enemies in Resident Evil 4 were kind of zombie-ish, even though they moved a little fast. So that was cool. And I faithfully stick with the game, the series, because who knows? Maybe we got a little taste of what a zombie Resident Evil would be with Leon's earlier campaigns at 6. I just wish that there was more of it. It was like the first 2 chapters and then the last chapter of Leon's campaign were filled with zombies, and it was cool as fuck. So here's hoping that they decide that they want to go back to that. Because every time a new Resident Evil game comes out, I read forums and things, and everybody's bitching about how it's just full of action now, and it's more of an action game than a survival horror. And look, with this, the engine that they use now, it's never going to be survival horror again. I think that is unrealistic to hope for. This one is more reminiscent of a Resident Evil game to me, because there's the keys that you have to find, and puzzles like that plate that I put in to get the shotgun. I mean, that's cool, and that's such a little thing to hope for in a Resident Evil game, but it makes me feel like I'm playing Resident Evil 2 again, but with an updated engine, and that's pretty cool. In any case, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We can talk about it, and you can maybe tell me why you like Resident Evil 5 or 6, and I'll tell you why I don't like it, and maybe you can change my mind. Who knows? And in any case, other than that, go ahead and rate, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.